Have you ever wondered why most of the images we see of Jesus portray him as a Caucasian man with long, flowing hair? What if I told you that this widely recognized image might not reflect the historical figure who lived over 2,000 years ago in the Middle East? Today, we're diving deep into the historical, cultural, and scientific discussions about the real appearance of one of history's most pivotal figures, Jesus. What did he really look like, and why does it matter? After questioning the common depiction of Jesus, let's start at the very beginning, where it all happened. Jesus was born and lived in what is now modern-day Israel and Palestine. Back in the 1st century, this region was a melting pot of cultures, influenced by the movements of people along the major trade routes that connected Africa, Asia, and Europe. This area, historically known as Judea, was under Roman control, but had a population that was ethnically diverse. It included people of Semitic descent, like the Jews and Arabs, as well as Greeks, Romans, and even Ethiopians. This diversity raises an interesting question. With such a mix of ethnic groups, what might someone born in this region like Jesus have looked like? Historical records other than the Bible are scarce when it comes to describing Jesus' physical appearance. This lack of information has allowed artistic interpretations to fill in the gaps, often influenced more by cultural contexts than by historical accuracy. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of 1st century Judea. You'd encounter a vibrant tapestry of cultures and people, each bringing their own customs and appearances to this crossroads of the ancient world. Located at the heart of trade routes that connected Africa, Asia, and Europe, Judea was not just a Jewish homeland, but a mosaic of Greek, Roman, and even distant Ethiopian influences. This diversity is crucial to understanding the world. Jesus was born into a world where identities were complex and the concept of race as we understand it today didn't quite exist. The people here would have had a range of skin tones, facial features, and physical builds, shaped by a mix of genetics and the harsh, sun-baked climate of the Middle East. Historians and archaeologists suggest that the typical look of a Judean at the time would likely be far different from the pale, blue-eyed figure often depicted in later Western art. Instead, they would bear the olive to darker skin tones, brown eyes, and black hair, characteristics typical of Middle Eastern populations. Why does this matter? Because understanding the real Jesus, starting with the very place and people he lived among, challenges many long-held images and invites us to ask deeper questions about the roots of our faith and the stories we've been told. So as we delve further into the appearance of Jesus, let's keep this vivid scene of 1st century Judea in mind, reminding us of the rich, diverse human tapestry that shaped his life and teachings. In the vast narrative of the Bible, surprisingly little is said about Jesus' physical appearance. The scriptures primarily concentrate on his teachings, miracles, and the profound impact of his ministry. However, a few passages have sparked centuries of debate and artistic inspiration. One of the most referenced texts is from the book of Revelation, where John's vision describes a figure with hair white like wool and feet like burnished bronze. While some may take these descriptions literally, scholars often interpret them symbolically, reflecting traits of divine purity and strength rather than physical characteristics. Similarly, the book of Isaiah provides a prophetic image, stating he had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. While this is debated among scholars about whether it directly references Jesus, it's commonly cited to suggest that Jesus' appearance was ordinary, resembling any other man of his time and place. These sparse descriptions have left much to imagination and cultural interpretation, leading to the diverse representations we see across the world. From the earliest Coptic Christian art to medieval European paintings, each culture has envisioned Jesus not only through the lens of piety, but also through the mirror of their own societal and racial identities. Understanding these interpretations helps us grasp how the image of Jesus has evolved, influenced by theological, cultural, and even political motives. It invites us to reflect, how have our own backgrounds shaped the way we picture the most influential figure in Christian history? As we journey through the artistic portrayals of Jesus, we enter a world where faith meets canvas, stone, and glass. Each depiction tells a story not just of religious devotion, but also of cultural identity and aesthetic preference. In Eastern Orthodox Christianity, for example, icons depict Jesus with features that reflect the Middle Eastern origins of Christianity. These icons often portray him with brown skin and dark hair, emphasizing his Semitic roots, which many believe to be a more historically accurate representation. Moving to Europe during the Renaissance, the depiction of Jesus took on a distinctly European character. Fair skin, light hair, and often blue eyes. These images were not merely artistic choices. They were imbued with political and cultural significance, shaping Western perceptions of divinity and purity. In contrast, Latin American art often portrays Jesus with indigenous or mestizo features, blending the divine with local ethnic characteristics. These depictions resonate deeply with local populations, making the sacred more relatable and accessible. Further south, in Ethiopia, one of the oldest Christian communities in the world presents Jesus with distinctly African features in their religious art. These images are powerful reminders of a Christianity that is not Western but truly global. Each of these portrayals of Jesus challenges the notion that there is a single, correct way to depict him. They invite us to see him through the eyes of different cultures, each bringing their own understanding and love for this figure who transcends geographical and racial boundaries. In our quest to uncover what Jesus may have looked like, science offers valuable clues. Through the lenses of archaeology and forensic anthropology, we can glimpse the physical characteristics of the people who lived in Judea 2,000 years ago. Recent archaeological digs and analysis of skeletal remains from the region provide us with data on the average height, facial features, and even the health of the population. For example, forensic reconstruction based on typical skulls found in the area suggests that men of Jesus' time and place had olive to darker skin, brown eyes, and dark, curly hair, traits common in the Middle Eastern population. Genetic studies also play a crucial role in this exploration. They show a diverse genetic makeup in the population due to centuries of migrations and trade. This diversity reminds us that the area was a melting pot, much like the descriptions we discussed earlier. Moreover, researchers use these insights to create forensic reconstructions of typical faces from that era. One such project led by experts attempted to reconstruct a face based on the skull of a man from around the same time and place as Jesus. The result was strikingly different from the fair-skinned, blue-eyed image often seen in Western art. These scientific findings challenge and enrich our understanding of Jesus' appearance. They remind us that the people of the past were as real and as varied as those today, and they encourage us to consider how history and science intersect with faith. The image of Jesus is not merely a religious symbol. It has been a powerful tool in sociopolitical landscapes across the globe. Throughout history, the portrayal of Jesus has been adapted to serve the agendas of empires, nations, and various cultural movements, often reflecting and reinforcing the power structures of the time. In the age of colonization, European powers often brought with them depictions of a Caucasian Jesus, which were used to justify imperial rule over other races and cultures. This depiction was employed as a symbol of authority and divine approval for their actions, suggesting that the colonizer's race was closer to the divine. Conversely, in the 20th century, as movements for civil rights and decolonization gained momentum, different ethnic groups began reclaiming the image of Jesus to reflect their own identities. In these contexts, Jesus was portrayed with features that resonated with local populations, whether in Africa, Asia, or Latin America, empowering those who had been marginalized by colonial legacies. Moreover, in modern political discourse, the image of Jesus continues to be invoked in debates about everything from immigration to social justice, reflecting the enduring power of his image to speak to contemporary issues. Understanding these sociopolitical uses of Jesus' image allows us to see how deeply intertwined are religious iconography and political power. It challenges us to consider how we today use and interpret religious symbols in our own contexts, asking us to reflect on who benefits from these interpretations and who might be marginalized. In today's interconnected world, the image of Jesus continues to evolve, reflecting a broader spectrum of racial and cultural identities. This modern reinterpretation is not just about visual representation. It's about rethinking and challenging the traditional narratives that have shaped our understanding of religious figures. Artists and theologians alike are pushing the boundaries by depicting Jesus with features typical of populations from all over the globe. For example, in some American urban communities, murals depict Jesus with African American traits, resonating with local populations and providing a sense of ownership and familiarity in their spiritual lives. Similarly, in parts of Asia, depictions of Jesus blend local cultural elements, which can be seen in artwork featuring Jesus with Asian facial features, wearing traditional garments. These images often incorporate symbols and styles that are significant to the local culture, integrating the story of Jesus into the fabric of their own historical and cultural narratives. The impact of these depictions goes beyond art. They spark discussions and sometimes controversy, reflecting broader societal debates about race, identity, and the role of religion in public life. For instance, when a church opts to display a non-traditional image of Jesus, it can lead to dialogue about inclusivity and representation within the religious community. These contemporary portrayals of Jesus challenge us to reflect on the essence of his teachings, love, compassion, and acceptance, and how these virtues can be embodied in diverse forms across different cultures. They invite believers and non-believers alike to see the figure of Jesus as a truly universal symbol, adaptable and meaningful to people of all backgrounds. As we've explored the varied depictions of Jesus throughout history and across cultures, we've seen how deeply personal and powerful these images can be. To bring this exploration closer to home, let's hear from individuals from around the world about what Jesus' image means to them personally and spiritually. First, we meet Maria from Brazil, who grew up seeing Jesus portrayed with features similar to her own community. She shares, "Seeing Jesus depicted with darker skin like mine made me feel seen and understood by my faith. It's a reminder that God's love transcends race and ethnicity." Next, John from the United States discusses his experience with different depictions of Jesus in his multicultural urban neighborhood. The mural of Jesus as a black man in our community center is a powerful statement. It speaks to the inclusivity of Jesus' message and challenges the traditional images we see in mainstream media. We also talk with Aisha, a religious studies scholar in Egypt, who appreciates the historical and cultural accuracy of Middle Eastern depictions of Jesus. Understanding Jesus as a Middle Eastern man helps bridge gaps between Christian and Muslim communities here. It emphasizes the shared heritage and deep roots of Abrahamic faiths in this region. Each story brings a unique perspective, illustrating how the image of Jesus is not just a static icon, but a living part of people's faith and identity. These personal connections to the image of Jesus enrich our understanding of his universal message of love and acceptance. As we conclude our journey through the images of Jesus, we invite you to reflect on what these representations mean to you. How does the image of Jesus in your community or family resonate with your personal beliefs and experiences? Share your stories with us in the comments below.